Mother Nature's playing games with us here in Eastern Michigan in February. 55 degrees, but it must mean spring is on the way, and we're coming down the backside of the women's college gymnastics season. Illinois State on the road today, taking on the Eastern Michigan Eagles. The first week that RQS scores come into effect, so you know we're coming close to regionals and championships. And with that, we welcome you down here on the floor at the Convocation Center in Ypsilanti. She is the former Big 12 vault champion, Megan Boyce. My name is Joel Gadet, and Megan, let's talk about those three letters, RQS. It starts to get real.
Yeah, it's important. Both teams are going to be looking for good scores tonight because home scores and away scores count into that RQS.
We're going to see a couple of gymnasts here today. Both of these squads, no shortage of all-arounders. Let's start with Illinois State and just a sophomore, Alyssa Wiggle.
Yeah, Alyssa Wiggle is a great story. She's a walk-on for Illinois State's team, and she has proven herself in the gym and in competition. She's consistent, and she's going to make an impact. We also have an all-arounder on Eastern Michigan's team making her debut tonight, freshman Jada Rondo. She has been a leader on this team so far, and they're giving her an opportunity to really prove herself and build on her career.
Rondo has exhibitioned on bars. Tonight will be the first time she competes on that or score in an event. You can see that's the one statistic missing on that graphic for Jada Rondo. But a lot of Wiggle, a lot of Rondo. Two teams that, again, no shortage of people that can compete in a whole bunch of events and apparatuses. Eastern Michigan trying to defend its Mid-American Conference Championship as well. So as you mentioned off the top, the scores start to really count. The RQS in effect, regionals on the mind for Kendall Valentin and the Eastern Michigan Eagles. Back here in Ypsilanti at the Convocation Center, it is Eastern Michigan and Illinois State here on a Thursday night. Megan Boyce, Joel Gadet again. Glad to have you back here along with us. Our first rotation warm-ups about halfway through. Eastern Michigan will open up on vault. We take a look at a class of 6 right now. Both of these teams a little banged up because of injuries. Those are the Eastern Michigan vaulters. There are 6 of them. That is it. Led by Allison Smith in the leadoff spot. How about Callie Harden as a freshman drawing the anchor role?
Yeah, you know, freshmen can come in and make an immediate impact on a team. Clearly, she's got a strong vault, and they're going to look for her to score a high score for them.
Jada Rondo, we talked about all around. Emily Dobronics, a sophomore, will also compete all around for Eastern Michigan here today. Illinois State will start on bars. The Redbirds with Jessica Rothman in the leadoff spot. Talk about a young team, by the way. Look at the classes there. That's not a typo for the senior on locker, by the way. She's the only one. The rest of them are sophomores.
But that's exciting to see. It looks like the experience they get this year is going to really help them moving forward.
It's one of those things where as a coach, you take the gray hair now for hopefully the payoff in a year or two down the road.
Yeah, imagine the confidence they're going to build by knowing they can put up a lineup like that and score well.
Take a look at Eastern Michigan. Head coach Katie Minnesola, her first season here with the Eagles, and that is something we have said a couple of times over the last couple of years. The third head coach, really the fourth head coach over the last 3 seasons for Eastern Michigan, and she wants to carry on that legacy. She said she can feel that pressure. Back-to-back MAC titles, trying to come in and do it again.
Yeah, absolutely. Katie has a great outlook. She has said that there is no specific leader, but all of the girls on the team have an opportunity to lead the squad, and I think that's a great way to come in and establish a culture in a team. Yeah,
she basically said, I don't want to pick the leader. I want to stand back and see who will step to the forefront and become the leaders in their own right. Bob Conklin, we talk about Minnesota being a first-year head coach. Bob Conklin's been around normal for a while. His 12th season coaching the Redbirds. Graduate of Indiana Wesleyan and a tumbling, diving, and trampoline background. Of course, trampoline becoming an Olympic sport within the last couple of decades. He's taken that expertise to the Illinois State Redbirds. Warm-ups are now completed, and Eastern Michigan will start things off on the vault with Allie Smith. Redshirt freshman. We'll see a Yurchenko full out of her.
The leadoff spot is always a little nerve-wracking. You're kind of setting the tone for your team, but it's a great opportunity to get the meet started, and I'm excited to see what she shows us. She does a nice Yurchenko full. She landed up with her chest nice and high, had a little hop backwards, but that's a strong start for the team.
High for Smith is a 9.675 on vault this year. It's going to put her certainly in the ballpark.
Yeah, absolutely.
On bars, there's Jessica Rothman.
On bars, we're looking for handstands that are right up to vertical. She showed us a Tkachev, catching that bar and moving into her release down to the low bar. A little short on her bail, but so far she's moving through her routine nicely. Looking for a handstand here as she goes into her dismount. A little short on that dismount, but overall it was a good start for their lineup.
Fourth time this season competing on bars for Jessica Rothman. We talked about Jada Rondo in the open here. First opportunity to see the all-arounder for Eastern Michigan will be on vaults. Yurchenko full out of Rondo. And a slight step ahead on the landing.
Yeah, she had nice form in the air, but didn't quite get the rotation off of the table to land up nice and tall.
All around for the first time today. You just talk about the mental aspect for tonight for her. She has to be dialed in all 4 events. Takes a lot out of you for 2 hours.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, when you're not used to competing all 4 events, you really have to focus to be able to move from one event to the next and get your mind in the right place to go out and be consistent through the meet.
So there's one for Rondo. And back to bars for Illinois State and Marissa Piper, sophomore out of Claremore, Oklahoma. Well-traveled, began her collegiate career at SUNY Brockport.
She'll look to build on her teammates' routine and continue a consistent lineup. Teams are usually looking for scores to build over the course of the rotation, so making sure that every routine goes up and hits is really important.
Yeah, there's a science to that stacking of a lineup, isn't there?
Yeah, absolutely. Some coaches really have a strategy that they use to put the lineup together. So every team's a little different, and it's fun to kind of watch what they do.
Sometimes you lead off because, hey, you just got done warming up. Sometimes you respond best to getting right up on the apparatus. Sometimes, even if that's your best person, they'll put you there. Sometimes they put their best person at the end. It all depends on how you respond, how your teammates respond around you.
Yeah, absolutely. The leadoff spot is really somebody who's going to be consistent. You want that first routine to go up and hit to create a good vibe for the team, and they really build off of each other. I heard somebody say that sticks are contagious, and I think that's really true. Also, hits are contagious, and so that's what we really look for.
Well, Illinois State, with the lineup a little bit shuffled, we took a look at the injured list for them, and that's impacted in terms of the lineup put together here. So sophomore laden because a lot of bodies are missing.
Yeah, she did a Ginger for her single bar release. You could see she was in a little bit tight, and so there was a form break there. But she's recovered, and now she's going to look for a really strong dismount and find that stick.
And off the double layout, they stumble forward.
Yeah, you know, it looked like she came off the bar a little bit too soon and just didn't quite get the height she needed to complete that double layout.
And Jules Schwartz now on vault, veteran for the Eagles, the senior from Arizona.
She also does a Yurchenko full, and that was beautiful. She landed it perfect with that stick. A little close to the table, they might see some deduction from that, but that was a strong vault that they really needed.
Kind of fought that temptation to lean back to the table as well and hold that stick when she got down on the ground.
Yeah, that's definitely something that college gymnasts work on a lot, trying to find that ground and get that stick. It's an easy place to save tenths in your score, so coaches really focus on that in practice.
And a really easy place to lose tenths in your score.
Absolutely.
Talked about all around a lot already. Jules Schwartz was somebody that Sarah Brown last season talked about as a potential all-arounder down the stretch. Has never gotten it together on the floor exercise side of her game, but has appeared, will appear down the stretch in 3 different events for Eastern Michigan. You talked about being close to the table. walk us through kind of what we see there in that regard.
Yeah, you can see that she got good height on her vault, but we don't see her moving down the mat as much as we would like. So sometimes judges can take deduction for not getting the distance that they like to see in the Yurchenko falls.
Here's Catherine Locker for Illinois State. This will be her only event today, the junior out of Florida.
She had a beautiful first handstand and a really nice Tkachev. She does a packed salto for her release between bars. That's kind of a difficult release, but she did it beautifully. She was a little short on that handstand right there, and into her double tuck dismount. Perfect landing. That's exactly what they needed to get back on track.
Easily the best routine so far for Illinois State. You talked about it off the top. Build those routines as you go from 1 to 6 at the back end of your lineup.
Yeah, and you know, sometimes it's hard to get back on track after a fall, but she came out and did a strong routine, and I know they're going to be happy to build off of that one.
Locker was one of those people that's been injured for Illinois State as well. So to see her come out and do this, competes only on bars. They could use her on beam, but they need to preserve her for that.
Yeah, and how confidence building for her. You know, to come back from an injury and be able to get up and consistently hit a routine is so important. That will help her with confidence as she goes through the rest of the season.
Update you on some scores that have come in. A couple of trips through the lineup as you get a look at Emily Dobronics on the vault.
Beautiful full Yurchenko. You could see she got that distance that we were just talking about. She had a lot of pop off the horse, nice shape in the air. The only deduction that we're really going to see is as that hop on the landing.
Allison Smith a 9.6 in the leadoff spot. Then Jada Rondo a 9.5 for Eastern Michigan. We go back to bars, where Illinois State has started with a 9.4 and an 8.9.
She had a beautiful handstand right there as she prepares for her dismount. And again, a nice high dismount. She finished her flip well above the ground, and she was able to spot that landing and just take a small step.
And Gabby Cook was wasting no time, by the way. Dobronics hit that vault, and Cook was on the bars.
Yes, she was ready to go. You know, when you stand around after you finish warm-up, you're really anxious to get going. Here we can see her dismount. She does a blind full into a double tuck. She had a lot of height, and she was able to see that ground.
Well, the way to score for Cook, Locker before her puts up a 9.675. This will be Megan Holmgren now, the veteran vaulter, the junior, one of 7 regular contributors back from the MAC championship team a year ago.
So she did a different vault. She does a Yurchenko layout half. She had a nice shape in the air. You want to see a nice laid out shape, no pike. And she found the ground and had a really clean landing, just a small hop. This is kind of a difficult vault because you don't see the ground before you land. So some girls stay away from this vault, but that was really well executed. I think they'll be really happy with that score.
Unnerving feeling to not see the ground.
I liked it. That's the vault that I did when I won the Big 12 championship, so I disagree.
Here's Alyssa Wiggle now.
She does Ginger as well. We saw that earlier in the bar lineup. She had nice height and distance from the bar, just a small form break with her legs. Again, we're looking for that handstand. She was just off vertical. That's one place we see a lot of deductions on bars, so it's something to pay attention to. Big double back, nice height, and she sticks the landing.
And you see why Bob Conkling has the confidence in her to put her on all 4 events and just come through.
Absolutely. Here we go. We see a blind full into that nice high double tuck. She opens up, sees that landing, and gets the stick.
Back to vault. Here's Callie Harden. Same vault as Rachel Slocum, and she nails it.
That's a front handspring, front pike. It's a unique vault that you see in college gymnastics now. She had great height, opened up. Looks like she opened up just a little bit early, and we see that hop on the landing.
Eastern Michigan green and white bleed through Callie Harden. Her family really comes from Eastern Michigan bloodlines. And you talk to Katie Minnesota and she says, hey, she's a fan. She said in high school she wanted to vault like Rachel Slocum, which on a national stage was kind of random at that point in time. Obviously, Rachel goes on to Florida and makes a larger name for herself, but kind of idolized this program, and it's good to see her as a freshman anchor the back end of that rotation.
Yeah, that's so fun. As a young girl going through gymnastics, it's always so great to be able to go and live out your dream at the school that you grew up watching. Now that's a really unique release move. That's called a delcha. You don't see it too often, and she goes into a really nice bail handstand on the low bar. Coming back up to finish. Again, she's looking for a strong dismount. They've hit a couple sticks, and that's what she'll be looking for. And a tough dismount. She does a full twisting double back. She had nice height, landed nice and tall, just a small step on that landing. That was a really strong way for them to finish out that rotation.
E-level dismount for Anna Marima. First team all-conference performer a season ago, and someone they certainly rely on, not just on bars, but a couple of places as tonight goes along. Eastern Michigan winds up with a 48-225 on vault. We'll await the final score for Illinois State on bars as we head to rotation number 2 back at the Convocation Center in Ypsilanti. Update those scores through rotation 1 for you. Eastern Michigan a 4.835. Illinois State puts up a 4.8275. Illinois State headlined by the 9.75 to close things out on the anchor spot by Anna Marima. Eastern Michigan headlined by a 9.725 from Emily Dobronics, the all-arounder on vault. Let's take a look at some of the high points for both of those teams through rotation number 1.
We saw several Yurchenko fulls from Eastern Michigan, and some of them really nice. We got some sticks in the final lineup on Illinois State, and they finished out strong.
We flip spaces, flip spots as we head to rotation number 2. Eastern Michigan will go to bars and to the vault for Illinois State. Let's take a look at the lineup for Eastern Michigan on uneven bars. The 2 names to draw your attention to most are 2 that we have not yet seen. Seniors in the 4 and 5 spot, Lacey Rubin and Kendall Valentin. Kendall Valentin about as good as it gets in the Mid-American Conference. Can compete all around. They don't falter with an ankle. But we will see a lot of Kendall Valentin, and it should be exciting to see what the senior brings to the table here tonight. On the other side for Illinois State, vaulting. They'll lead things off with their all-arounder, Alyssa Wiggle, and now we see a little bit more of a veteran presence and a little bit more of a youth presence. It's kind of weird that we had all sophomores virtually on the bars, and we've gone in 2 very split directions to go vault. You've added a couple of veterans with a junior in the lineup and a senior in the lineup, and we've also popped 2 freshmen in there for Illinois State as well.
Yeah, it's nice to have some leadership throughout the course of the lineup, but of course as you recruit, you're trying to bring in talent for every single level, so that's what we really see here.
Trinity Barron will exhibition as well, so the freshman at the end of things, score will not count, but you talk about recruiting and growing and getting better. That's what it comes down to, is an opportunity to compete, really compete on the competition floor. We talked about all-arounders. That's the full list of them, and in some respects, that's kind of nuts, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. This really shows the depth of each of these teams when everybody's ready to compete. It's a lot of talent. The great thing about that is that you're competing for your spot every day in the gym, so it only makes the team stronger when they hit the competition floor.
Well, and not that Eastern Michigan is going to put 4 all-arounders on the floor at the same time. They do have 2 today, but like, that makes you sleep well at night if you're Katie Minnesota. I know 4 people in every lineup every day. That's not something you see a lot in college gymnastics.
No, it's not. And, you know, the thing that's great about it, too, is that it makes those girls compete for their spots every single time.
Yeah.
You have to get up and be consistent in order to keep that all-around spot.
Well, and it makes everybody else compete because there's only 2 spots
Exactly.
on any given event.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, the opportunities for everybody else, the bone is, there's a lot less to bite off for everybody else.
Right, but it also means that you need to be ready at any given time, because when you're competing all around every single week, it definitely takes a toll on your body. So you need to be ready to get up there and compete just in case somebody needs to rest.
Bar team for Eastern Michigan, far and away the best of their units a season ago. Ranked 13th in the country at one point last season. Has struggled this year to find some consistency, although coming off its best score of the season of 48-9 last time out a weekend ago against Northern Illinois.
Yeah, like we said in the last rotation, bars is a lot about handstands and sticks. So if you can get up there and hit those handstands and stick that dismount, you're going to put up a solid rotation.
Here's Wiggle and Yurchenko full.
She's going to lead the team off. And looks like she just went with the Yurchenko layout. She might have felt like her timing was a little bit off, but she lands and she gets them off to a solid start.
Didn't get the height, I don't think, that she was probably looking for.
Yeah, she definitely didn't get the same pop off the table as we saw with some of the girls on the last rotation, but at least she went through a clean ball, there was no fall, and they'll look to build off of that.
Here's Courtney Beazold, first time we'll see her today.
She does a ginger for her same bar release. Her blindfold going into that ginger was a little far past vertical, so it looks like that might have kept her a little close to the bar. Little short on that last handstand, but she's got good swing going into her dismount. Beautiful double layout, lands nice and tall.
It'll be interesting to note for Eastern Michigan today. The lineup put forward by Katie Minnesola, we showed 6. The 6th is a question mark. There are only 5 officially that will compete. You talked about competing for your spot. That is the ultimate for Katie Minnesola. She said, I'm not just going to put 6 out there to put 6 out there. I'm putting 5 out there that have earned it. If there's a fall, we might see a 6th. But bars will be interesting to watch for the remainder of the rotation.
Yeah, you know, we talked earlier about the culture that Katie is really trying to develop at Eastern, and she sounds like she's really looking to develop a culture of excellence. Everybody needs to go up, hit, and be confident, and put the work in every day so that when they go to the competition floor, you know you're putting your strongest step.
And that's where it comes down to it. Last year, this was one of the top bar teams in the country. Consistency hasn't necessarily been there here in 2018. Talent is there. Skills are there. 4 of the 5 we know we will see in lineup tonight, E-level dismounts.
Yeah, and that's really impressive. To be able to go up and put that kind of skill out there really shows the talent they have on this team. It looks like we have another bar routine. She did a Jaeger and goes into her bail. A little bit of a form break there, but she's on track. A little short on her handstand. Again, nice swing getting ready for this dismount. Another double layout, saw that ground, and a clean landing. That's Jada Rondo, so that's her debut in the bar lineup, and what a great way to start.
First time it counts for Jada Rondo.
Pretty good height off the table.
Interesting lineup move, too. We had back-to-back bars for Eastern Michigan. Megan Commercial was supposed to vault in between that and did not for Illinois State.
Yeah, that's curious. Hopefully we didn't have her get injured in the warm-ups.
But Katie DiGiacomo, who just went, was penciled in 3rd. Freshman from Tampa Tumblers. One of 2 Tampa Tumblers that made their way up to normal.
So far, Illinois State has done some vaults that have lower start values, which means that what the judges start deducting from is slightly lower, so we'll expect to see some lower scores. Over on the bars, we just saw a huge Tkachev. Little short on that handstand out of the Tkachev, but so far she's had nice form.
It's Emily Dobronics, the all-arounder, ready for the dismount.
Again, a big double layout. She had great distance on that and a beautiful landing. She had plenty of time to spot that ground and plant those feet. Again, we'll see the double layout there. She's nice and open, sees that ground, and it's an easy stick for her.
It's one of the best looking dismounts too, just from an aesthetic standpoint.
It's always fun when you get to see them fly big off the bar. It just looks like they're floating to the ground.
Here's Annie Maremma, sophomore out of the Chicagoland area.
And she does a Yurchenko full. So we saw a few of these with Eastern Michigan on vault. She had good height, but it looked like she was a little under-rotated, landing with her chest down. But it's nice to see a higher start value vault for that team, and she was pretty clean throughout the flip.
Caught the front edge of the table as well and kind of shot herself to the side.
Yeah, you could see her pike down there at the end, and that probably has to do with the way she came into the table. Looks like she's limping a little bit. Maybe she caught her toe.
Here's Lacey Rubin.
Beautiful
Worth the
handstand
price
to
of admission.
start it off. Lacey does a beautiful pike Jaeger. That is a really difficult skill. Her handstands are gorgeous. There's that pack salto we saw a little bit earlier. She has nice, clean form. You can tell she's definitely a bar swinger.
Third at the NCAA Regionals a season ago, and that's why.
Yeah, that was a nice, clean routine. She had a small hop on her landing, but overall, I think they're going to be really happy with that set.
I stand corrected too, as we head back to vault. This is Anna Merima.
Looked like her hand slid on the table, so she definitely did not get the pop off the table she was looking for. She didn't quite complete her flip, and it looks like she may be sore from that landing.
It almost looked like the table moved on her once she hit it for the jump. Not the table itself, not the horse itself, but it looked like the spring itself slipped a little bit and she moved, which kind of sent her off the table a bit.
Yeah, her reach back to the table was just not her normal, and when you don't get that pop, it can be a little scary sometimes.
And here's Kendall Valentin. We said Lacey Rubin was worth the price of admission. Valentin, ditto.
And so far, she is doing a beautiful routine. She had a huge Takachiv into a really nice bail right up to handstand. A little short on that last handstand, but gorgeous dismount. That was a huge full twisting double tuck, and she nailed it.
The All-American from a season ago, Kendall Valentin. First team All-Conference to boot, and nailed it tonight.
And you can see why those two girls are at the end of that lineup. They have strong routines that are clean, and you can see that team is really excited about that routine.
Well, what will become interesting is whether or not Katie Minnesota decides whether or not 5 was enough tonight, or if she will put the 6th out there.
Yeah, it looks like these girls are responding pretty well to pressure right now. That's a great score. The judges are flashing right now. It looks like that's going to go 9.875. They are happy with that.
Kendall Valentin, the first All-American in Eastern Michigan program history a season ago with the way that her season finished out.
And that's impressive. To make it all the way to that level and be competing at that level of consistency is really exciting, and what a huge accolade to add to the program. Illinois State's looking to recover after that last ball. This can be a big pressure situation.
Meredith LaRoche.
And she does a Yurchenko full. She landed with her butt out a little bit, so you saw her stumble backwards, but they're happy that they were able to get a solid ball.
And there will be an exhibition vault upcoming for Illinois State, so Katie Minnesota says 5 is enough on bars. Lacey Rubin with a 9.825 led the way. Rondo a 9.675. 9.75 out of Dobronics, 9.625 out of Bezold in the leadoff spot. We still await the official score, although I think you said the 9.875 for Kendall Valentin. Bar swingers responded for Eastern Michigan. Best vault for Illinois State was DiGiacomo's 9.575. Oh, and now Gabby Cook will vault. They had announced the exhibition.
It looks like Illinois State might have made some last-minute changes in their lineup.
Gabby's going to look to finish strong. Yurchenko full, and that was by far their strongest vault of the rotation. She got good pop off the horse, pretty good shape in the air. We saw a little bit of a pike down at the end, but that was a strong way for them to finish that rotation.
Get you the final line on Gabby Cook and the final score rundown for the second rotation when we come on back. As it stands, though, Eastern Michigan in a 9-7-1, 2 trips through. Rubin and Valentin. Dobronics as well, sticking some landings on the bars. Eastern Michigan and Illinois State back here at the Convocation Center with Megan Boyce, Joel Gadet. Eastern Michigan has yet to crack 195 this season. They have a chance if they can finish strong here on beam and floor. But let's first look back at bars and for Illinois State, vault in rotation number 2. We'll start things on vault here. And Illinois State just seemed like it was off a little bit in its connection with the table.
Yeah, they looked like they just had a little bit of off timing, but Eastern Michigan had a great bar rotation, stuck several landings, and as you can see here, like we were talking about, they just seemed a little off. Few mistakes, but they're looking to recover on floor.
For what it's worth, Maremma appears to be okay after taking that tough landing. Saw Lacey Rubin with a dynamic routine. Kendall Valentin wound up in the anchor spot on bars for Eastern Michigan as well, posting the 9-8-7-5. Let's take a look at the lineups here in rotation number 3. It'll put Eastern Michigan on the balance beam. Well, if you like Lacey Rubin on bars and Kendall Valentin on bars, you will like them on the beam as well. Lacey Rubin in the anchor spot, Valentin just in front of her. We'll see Megan Marino for the first time today. We'll see her again on floor. And the all-arounders, Rondo and Dobronics. Megan Holtgren is the veteran out of the Chicagoland area in Illinois. Speaking of Illinois, let's take a look at the Redbirds on floor. Alyssa Wiggle, the all-arounder in the leadoff spot. She leads off so much for them in the all-around spot. Just that consistent presence. You know what you're going to get. Start yourselves on the right foot.
Yeah, like we talked about off the top, Alyssa has earned that all-around spot because of her consistency.
Marissa Piper we have already seen today. Cameron Topp and Brianna Barrett make their lineup debuts. So too does Savannah Remkes and Gabrielle Cook. The best thing she does is the floor exercise. Went to the NCAA Regionals, 17th in the regional on the floor exercise in 2017.
A lot of girls like the second half of meets. You can kind of show your personality on balance beam and on the floor. So if you had a rough start, it's a kind of nice thing to move to the floor exercise. You get a dance, you get to perform for the crowd, and it's another power event so you can kind of shake off any nerves that you might still have.
Kendall Valentin warming up on the balance beam. We touched on her during her bar routine. First All-American in school history a season ago. 4th on the vault, 6th on the bars at the NCAA Regionals, and can always talk about the athletic blood that runs through her family. Of course, her father, John, if you're a Red Sox fan, might ring a bell. If you're a Mets fan, you'd have to be really big Mets fan. His final year was his lone one with the New York Mets, but a kind of famous New Jersey family. The Valentins still reside there, a Seton Hall grad. His dad was there with Mo Vaughn and Craig Biggio, throwing some baseball history at you.
Hey, it sounds like Kendall's really trying to make her name in the athletic world in her own right.
Yeah.
She's come and really put a stamp on this program, and she's a great beam worker, and I think that we'll see some strong performances from her the rest of the season.
I said to her at one point, too, a couple of years ago, how come you don't play softball? Like, was that not pushed on you as a kid? But she said, no, like, I was given the opportunity to do and follow the passions that I had and that I wanted, and man, has she ever, and certainly excelled here at Eastern Michigan, and all of her coaches have raved about her. You talk about Katie Minnesola, you talk about Sarah Brown, you talk about Jay Santos, and I think Jay Santos' quote was best, because he said, when we got her, we felt like we kind of hit a home run. We were lucky to have her. And we told Kendall Valentin that, and she said, that warms my heart, which I just thought was an interesting anecdote of a response from Kendall Valentin.
You know, given how much change this team has gone through over the last couple of years, for her to still be able to go out, be consistent, and do her gymnastics, I mean, that really shows leadership on a team, and that's qualities that you die for as a coach. So I'm sure that she will continue to lead this program and set a good example for what they're looking for every year.
So on the beam, she'll be in the 5 spot. Lacey Rubin will be the anchor at the back end of things for Eastern Michigan. As you get a look at Bob Conklin, Illinois State's head coach, they will begin on floor here in the 3rd rotation. Megan Holtgren competed earlier tonight on vault with a 9.7. Her 2 events, vault and beam.
And a couple things to look for as we start off this beam rotation. Of course, we want to see the girls hitting their skills with as few wobbles as possible. We also want to see nice amplitude on the leaps and jumps, and then stuck landings on those dismounts.
And a really good show of strength right off the start to get on the beam that way.
Yeah, that's a tough mount for beam. Oftentimes you'll see the girls get on the beam in kind of a creative but simple way. And that was a really beautiful way for her to start her routine. She did a front aerial right there. Nice form and pulled up strong. We see her going into her flight series now. She's doing a back handspring back layout. She had great form and stuck it, no wobble. The gymnasts are supposed to have a full turn in their routine. So you'll see all of the girls complete the full turn. It's kind of a simpler element, but some girls get very nervous about it, and we'll see little wobbles.
The sheep jump has been a hallmark of Eastern routines as well. That's a tough one. You lose sight of the beam.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a risky jump to do, but she did it very well. She did an aerial into a full twisting back layout and stuck that landing. That's exactly why she's in the leadoff spot. She went up and hit a strong routine from the start.
And it seems like after kind of an okay start on vaults, boy, they hit their stride on the bars and carried it over to the first routine on beam.
Yeah, we talked about building throughout a rotation. They're building throughout this meet. That's exactly what you want to do.
Well, here is Alyssa Wiggle, the all-arounder who virtually leads off across the board. Floor is what she's best at.
And she opens her routine with a high double pike. Looks like she just didn't quite see the ground early enough and has a big step backwards. You can see the girls really have fun with floor. They get to show their personalities in their routines. Floor also has leaps and jumps. We're looking for good altitude on those jumps and pointed toes.
It's 90 seconds of instrumental music, dance, and a whole lot of personality.
For her second pass, she did a layout 1.5 into a piked front. She landed very clean on that one. Her teammates are along the side of the floor cheering her on. I don't know if floor is more fun for the person performing or the team.
It's the one event where the team really gets into it. More than just kind of watching, they kind of participate, don't
Yes. And she closes out her routine with a big double tuck. Landed it beautifully, and that was a really strong start for them on floor.
So Holtgren kicks off beam for Eastern Michigan, really strong. And Wiggle answers on floor. Back to the beam, here's Jada Rondo for the 3rd time tonight.
And she's looking to build off of a strong competitive start on bars. She prepares for her flight series. And she does a triple series. That is unusual. You don't see that a lot in college gymnastics. It was a back handspring layout, and she had a little wobble, but she fought hard to stay on that beam.
We will actually see it 4 times here tonight for Eastern Michigan. That's one of the things that makes them super unique on this particular apparatus.
Yeah, that is unique. She just did a 3/4 split jump. She turned a 3/4 turn with her legs in a split. That's going to give her some of her bonus. She does a round off 1.5 dismount. She found that ground in a small hop. After that little wobble on her flight series, she had a strong finish.
We've talked about all of the head coaches Eastern Michigan has had. Now 3 in 3 seasons, all for good reasons. Success leads to bigger and better jobs at Power 5 institutions. But you go back 2 coaching staffs ago, Jess Santos was kind of the beam extraordinaire, and I think has implanted a lot of those things that you still see living on in Katie Minnesola's group today. Iowa State connection.
Definitely. I was actually coached by Jess Santos when I was at Iowa State as well, and she has great insight, really trains your mind as a gymnast, and that's so much what beam is about.
This is Bree Price on floor.
You can already tell this floor routine is going to have some personality.
I stand corrected. Marissa Piper on floor for Illinois State.
And she does a unique opening pass. She did what's called a Rudy. It is a front pass that has 1.5 twists in it. You can hear her team on the side cheering her on. They have a little chant, sounds like. And again, another front pass. She punches into all of her passes rather than starting with a round off or a front handspring. She just did a front full into a front pike.
Did you have anything at Iowa State that was a constant in every floor routine? They have the built-in ISU chant. The Florida Gators all do the chomp at some point in their floor exercise.
Yes, we had a chant. Before all of our routines, we would have kind of a beep and the team would yell, "Go State!" Every team kind of develops their own personality. She finishes it off with a round off into a 1.5 twist and a front pike. They're going to be really happy with that routine. She was very solid through all of her tumbling, and it really built nicely off of that lead-off routine.
So 2 in the books after Piper there. And now Emily Dobronics, again all around today, the 3rd time we have seen the sophomore.
You'll notice a lot of the girls lead off their routine with their flight series. It's kind of one of the biggest skills you want to get out of the way. She again does a triple series, back handspring, layout, step out. It was very clean, nice form, and no wobbles. There's that full turn that we talked about. She has a nice, calm demeanor on the beam. Sometimes you'll see girls being really shaky. She did a pike jump into a pike 3/4. That is a really unique jump on the beam. You don't see that very often. You're looking to really get that full closure of the body. And she finishes off with a round off 1.5, a small hop. So far, Eastern Michigan is really strong on beam tonight.
Final event to come into the fold for Dobronics. But now 5 times in the last 7 meets that she has been on beam for the Eagles. And back over to floor exercise for Illinois State. This is Cameron Topp. One word we got from her head coach, Bob Conkling: power, out of the 4'11" freshman.
It's always fun to watch someone on floor who's known for their power. High flying tumbling is always a good show. Now we'll look for her landings, because that's the challenge when you're such a high flyer.
What's interesting with Cameron Topp, and I'll be curious to see what happens, she is also competing on beam in the next rotation. Conkling said she also shows power on beam, which is not something that you often see. But that's the dynamic she brings to the table.
It's always impressive when you can watch people on beam and it looks like they're tumbling on the floor. That's what I think of a lot of the time when I hear someone is powerful on beam.
Yeah, 4-inch floor.
Yeah.
It's like the floor is lava in real life.
Yeah. Shawn Johnson is somebody that I used to think about like that, the 2008 Olympian. She just tumbled up on the beam like she was just tumbling on the floor.
First 2 are a 9.65 from Wiggle and a 9.6 from Piper on the floor. And now Topp.
Looking right at her teammates.
You can see them all mirroring in the background.
Starts it off with a huge double tuck and lands it no problem. She had
see that
plenty
amplitude.
of time. Yeah, plenty of time to spot that ground. She's got a big smile on her face, definitely trying to play to the crowd. ready for her second pass now. She does a front handspring, front full into a front tuck. It looks like she was a little bit soft on that punch, so that second flip didn't come out quite the way we would normally expect. But she's able to hold on to it. Getting ready for her last pass here. Gonna finish it off with a double pike. She just didn't quite get the height that we saw on the first double pass. But that was a fun routine, and she'll definitely learn from that as she goes into her next meets, I'm sure.
Yeah, shame she was so strong and powerful on that first pass.
Yeah, it's hard to do a double back at the end of the routine. You're tired, you've been going nonstop, so sometimes you come up short.
Megan Marino was exclusively on floor for the most part last season, has added a beam routine here in 2018.
And she did a simpler series than what we've seen from the last two girls. She did a back handspring layout step out, pulled it up beautifully, no wobble. She did a switch leap into a straddle quarter right there. You saw her flexibility is wonderful. She got the full 180 split on both of those leaps. She just did a front tuck kickover. It was a front flip that came out of a step. Finishing off with a gainer full. Little step on that landing, but again, a nice clean routine for that team. They're really happy with how their lineup is building.
Emily Dobronics, a 9.75 in the spot most recent to that, and you talked about the word building. The scores have gone up for Eastern Michigan, 1, 2, 3 in the lineup, and we'll see what Megan Marino throws up in the 4 spot for the Eagles. They all count, and they're trying to get to that 195 for the first time this season. It's kind of that big elusive number. It looks like it's going to be a 9.725 for Marino.
You saw right there, that was her flight series. Again, she had nice straight legs, pulled up nice and strong, and there's her dismount. She had a slight pike as she came down to the ground. That's probably what caused that little step back. But overall, it was a clean routine, and I think the score reflects that.
So the 9.725, just a hair below Dobronics, but Eastern Michigan will take it. Still awaiting a score for Cameron Top on the floor. And as I say that, Top has come in with a 9 even.
It's always tough to be the next gymnast up after a fall, but you know, later in the lineup, these girls have experience and they're gonna go out and just hit the routines that they've been training all week.
We said power was the word used to describe Top. Bob Conklin said elegant for Brianna Barrett.
And you can already tell that in the personality of this floor routine.
Music gives that away a little bit, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think so. And she's gonna lead off with a really nice, clean double pike. She had straight legs, saw that ground, and went right into her lunge. Going into her second pass, she did a front layout into a front full. You saw a slight pike on that front full, but overall that was a clean pass as well. Kind of fun to see how they incorporate that cheer into every different routine.
And the different pacing depending on exactly where it falls.
Yes. There's her lead pass. You saw she had nice form through the lead pass and completed the rotations in the spinning jump. Final pass here. Round off, back 1.5 into a front pike. She had very clean landings throughout her routine. This was exactly the kind of routine that they wanted to put themselves back on track.
Yeah, easily the best of the 4 floor routines for Illinois State so far. Talked about it off the top. Redbirds just looking for consistency top to bottom, and there's the model of it for Eastern Michigan. Kendall Valentin was awesome on bars. Great start on beam.
Yeah. I'm excited to see her beam routine. If she was that good on bars, I can only imagine what we have in store now.
So she wants a 9.9 every time.
that's a high standard to set for yourself. So going out and aiming for that. And so we saw her triple flight there. It looks like she just got a little bit crooked. She fought for it, but sometimes when you go off in the beginning, it's hard to pull it back on. You can see her clean lines though. They translate from both bars and beam. It's important after a fall though to keep your mind really focused, because you never know if you're going to have to count the score. So you want to minimize any deductions in the routine. The routine is not over because there was a fall.
And she nails the jump and the dismount.
Finishes off with a really beautiful gainer full to the side, sticks it. She completed that at the height of the beam, so she had plenty of time to find that ground.
I'm sure Valentin will kick herself about the end of the triple flight series, but for what it's worth, the rest of it hurts you at the end of the day, but
yeah,
there's enough to take from that.
Yeah, and I'm sure that's an uncharacteristic mistake for her. That's always tough when you know you train it consistently, and it just doesn't quite go right in the meet.
Savannah Remkus now, freshman and a local for Illinois State. And she's a great story. Out of University High School, which is literally across the street from Illinois State University, and once she committed, she would leave school when high school was over and would walk to practice for the college gymnastics team just to hang around her future teammates.
It's fun, you already get to know the personality of the team. I guess that makes it easier in recruiting. You really know where you want to go.
Power is her strong suit as well.
And she'll look to build off of that last routine. Big double tuck. Looks like she opened just a little bit late, and that's why we saw that step. Pretty leaps.
I like the Pink Panther remix too.
Yeah, she's definitely got personality. You can see that. Getting ready for her second pass now. She's going to do a round off, 1.5 into a front tuck. Landed it cleanly. On floor, we're really looking for high tumbling, clean landings. The girls can take a lunge without any deduction, but any steps more than that will cause a deduction. She finishes it off with a front layout into a front full. She had a slight knee bend on that front full, but for the most part, she had very clean tumbling.
And had that little lunge you were talking about as well, that allowable one step that kind of flows through your motion, so to speak.
Yeah, and what we've seen in a lot of teams now is they're starting to incorporate jumps at the end of their passes, which makes for a very dynamic tumbling routine.
All right, here's Lacey Rubin on beam. 9.9 is her career high. You can get it on any given night.
Again, with that triple series, that's such a tough element. Looks like her foot was just slightly off the beam, and given that the beam is only 4 inches wide, it's very easy to slip like that.
That's a tough fall for Lacey Rubin as well, the way she hit the beam. Has 30 seconds to gather herself and remount the apparatus.
This is where that tough mental strength comes from. Training in that gym, knowing how to get back up on the beam when you fall and finish that routine, because the team needs you to finish the routine.
It's 90%, isn't it? 90% mental?
Sometimes it feels like more than that. She got back up. She just completed a cartwheel. It was very clean.
Her dismount will be interesting to watch as well. This is relearned from previously in her career. She used to dismount on the wrong leg. It was a built-in deduction. So she changed to the correct leg here as a collegiate senior. Took a little bit of time for that to kind of come into form for Lacey Rubin.
Interesting. Again, we'll see that gainer lay out full off the side. Slight pike down on the landing. But given the error at the beginning, that was a really strong finish for her. She had a beautiful leap there in the middle. She's going to be sore.
I was going to say, honestly, the way she hit the beam coming down to get back up at all and finish the routine the way she did.
Yeah, unfortunately, as a gymnast, like I said, with that only being 4 inches wide, it's probably not the first time that's happened, but it doesn't mean it doesn't hurt.
To be honest, the first time that happened to me would be the last day I did gymnastics.
There's a reason men don't typically do beam.
This is true. Here's Gabrielle Cook. She went to NCAA regionals on this event a season ago. A 9.825, finished her 17th. She is the defending conference champion.
Starting the routine off with a huge double tug. She popped right up in the air, saw that ground, and had a very clean landing. Not only is she powerful, but clearly flexible, demonstrating that with her leaps right there.
It's a new floor routine. She went to regionals with a floor routine, was a champion with a floor routine as a freshman, changed it as a sophomore. Still has that classical feel to the music, but Bob Conklin saying, made it a little bit more fun.
Yeah, it's pretty typical that girls will change their floor routine over their college career. I mean, you only have 4 years to kind of show it off and show your personality, so a lot of girls like to change their music each year. She has a very nice style in her dance. Going to this pass, we see a front handspring into a Rudy, that's the 1.5, into that jump we were just talking about.
That's a confident routine for Gabby Cook. And you can just tell her command of that event.
Absolutely. She feels confident on that event, and she goes out and shows it not only in her tumbling, but in her dance. She really performs her routine.
This score will not count. This is an exhibition for Brianna Price, freshman out of North Carolina. Beam is her specialty.
And the exhibition spot is really used to give the girls some experience. They get that pressure without it counting for the team. Like we were talking about earlier, where there's those 4 solid all-arounders for Eastern Michigan. This is a really great opportunity for people who might be on the cusp of the lineup to go out and prove themselves.
Well, and 4 solid all-arounders on any given night, plus Lacey Rubin, who you know is going to lock down a spot on beam. So you got 1 extra spot on this event if you really want to get yourself on the card.
Yeah, you're right. She had some really nice jumps there, small wobble. Preparing for her dismount. She did a really unique dismount. She did a back handspring into a double full. So she completed 2 twists in that dismount. She found the ground, took a small step, but that's a difficult dismount right there.
Now I said Bree Price is somebody who has been someone that pretty much focused on beam for Eastern Michigan so far this season. That is true. However, we'll take a break, we'll come on back, and we will see her debut on floor for the first time here in 2018 as well. And as I say that, we will actually do an exhibition on floor for Illinois State as well. This is Trinity Barron.
Another freshman here, so getting a little more experience on the competition floor. She's going to open up with a big double pike. You can see she had a lot of height. She was very open in that pike position, but again, just needs to look for the ground a little bit earlier.
How do you control that too when you've got so much power coming down?
It's a lot about air awareness. So you'll see some of the girls that are up really high, but they see the ground well before they come down, so they know where to open up. So some of it is just learning where your rotations are happening. The team really likes this routine. She did some nice leaps. She did what's called a wolf jump with a full twist, so a wolf full. We haven't really seen that tonight.
We did get a score on Cook, by the way. How about a 9.875 in the anchor spot for Illinois State just before this?
That's a really strong way for them to finish out that lineup. Had a few errors on floor, so for them to finish their strongest routine at the end is exactly what they were looking for. She finished with a double tuck again. We saw that earlier tonight, and just a little short on the rotation.
And the music cut out on her at the end, but she still finishes through, which would throw, I think, most people probably for an odd mental loop.
Yeah, you know, most of these girls have competing since they were very young, so I think you kind of learn to work through anything that's thrown at you.
And a lot of times you walk through your routine, sans music in practice anyway.
Yeah, it's not like the music is the only thing that allows you to do your routine.
Touche. Take a timeout. We will come on back, flip sides. 4 for Eastern. Illinois State will head to the 4-inch beam next. Final and 4th rotation from Ypsilanti is next.
I knew I wanted to do college gymnastics just like growing up and looking at all the older girls practicing and thinking it was cool. And then when I started looking at colleges, Eastern wasn't on my list at all. And then we went to a meet and I competed and they reached out, so I decided that that was the best move for me. He thought everything was really cool and it was like new to our whole family, even though my mom did it. So like growing up and like going to all the meets, like he only missed a few and he loved all of them. So he was really excited once I came to Eastern. He works for the township back home. So they were doing like road work and a girl was going around the curve and just wasn't paying attention. My mom called me and I declined it, and then she called me again and I answered it, and she was just like crying, and she said my name and I like knew right away. So I was just like, who is it? And she said, Dad. And I said, is he dead? And she said, yeah. I'm just grateful the team was just like behind me, making sure I was comfortable with everything. So it could have been a lot of a harder transition without the team behind me. When I went home, I just kept getting texts from the team like every day, making sure I was okay. And since I was already getting bombarded with texts, like I knew coming from the team that it was very meaningful. So they were all reassuring me that whenever I decide to come back, however long I want to stay home, that they'll all be here for me when I get back. So that helped a lot. Just like if I can help anyone going through the same thing and just to prevent it from happening, even if one person goes to grab their phone and they put it back down because they know that it can wait, that's worth it for me. Even like going to change the radio, like taking your eyes off the road for a split second is all it takes. And I think a lot of people don't really think about that part, but just mindlessly do it. So I think if everyone just has like that split second of thought, if this is really worth it right now, I think it would help a lot. Think about what you're doing and think about the impacts it could have if it goes wrong, because nobody thinks it'll happen to them until it does, then it changes your whole perspective. He's not going to get to see me compete at Eastern, but I know that. Since he knows we're dedicating it to him, it means a lot to him, and it means a lot to me.
The hashtag #DoItForDave has resonated with the Eastern Michigan gymnastics team this year. Allison Smith in her redshirt freshman season, and as she said at the end of that, her father has never gotten the opportunity to see her compete firsthand, but her biggest fan all throughout. And they compete in his memory, in his honor this season, and partnering with people against distracted driving to try to prevent things like that from happening in the future. Let's take a look at where Eastern has excelled so far to this point before we get you to Allison Smith on the floor. And we take a look at the beam scores. We talked about it in the break there. When you take a 9-1 and a 9-0, having to count a fall from your 5 and 6 spot, where you really expect kind of a 9-7 or 9-8, that one is a gut punch for Eastern. And then for floor, strongest Gabby Cook. We expected nothing less.
Yeah, she really came in and finished out that rotation on a high note for that team.
Lowest score dropped, so Cameron tops 9-0. They had the one fall on floor earlier. That gets erased. Eastern Michigan floor lineup. Talked about Allison Smith, freshman in the leadoff spot. Bree Price, a freshman, will debut. And then Jada Rondo debuting all around. So 3 freshmen in the floor lineup for Eastern Michigan. And then on the balance beam for Illinois State, they'll lead things off with Alyssa Wiggle, as she has done virtually all night. The all-arounder, Megan Kernerschel, Cameron Topp. You see that mix of very young and some legit veterans for Illinois State, with the senior Kylie Meyer in there as well.
And the challenge of an away meet is that you're finishing on beam. You in those 4 inches. But Alyssa Wiggle, she's been solid for this team all night long, and that's what they'll look for her again.
And you just had the high of being on floor and the excitement that comes with that to then have to go to the utter focus of this apparatus.
Yeah, the good thing about college gymnastics is you do get a lot of practice at this over the season. You compete more than half of your meets away, so this is not a unique experience for them right now. We see her flight series, a back handspring back layout again. She had nice clean form on that. She was not quite as high off the beam as we've seen from some of the other girls tonight, but she's glad to have that one out of the way. Going into her leap pass right there, she did a switch leap into a straddle jump 3/4. No wobbles, which is what we were talking about leading into this series of events. Really looking to hit your skills without any major wobbles. She goes into a side aerial. We saw a small bobble there. That full turn. She's got a smile on her face. She feels good about this routine so far.
She can hear the crowd behind her. This is her highest scoring event, and she sticks the landing. The homecoming for Wiggle in front of the home crowd. She's from just down the road, and a really solid all-around meet.
Yes, that's exactly how she earned that all-around spot. She hit all of her routines tonight. I would expect we see more all-around from her.
We talked about Allie Smith leading things off for Eastern Michigan on floor.
Getting ready for her first pass right now. She's gonna start off with a nice double pike, a little bit of a bobble there on the landing. Getting ready, going right into a second pass. She does a 1.5 into a front layout. She had nice shape in that front layout and a clean landing there. You notice she did her first 2 passes back to back. Some girls will choose to do that just so that they can get them out of the way, not be so tired as they go through their routine, and they get a lot of time to dance and show their personality off.
So the 9.675 pop up for Wiggle at the bottom of the screen. Only second for her today behind her 9.725 on bars, and the final pass upcoming for Allison Smith. The picture of toughness for Eastern Michigan.
She finishes it off with a front handspring into a Rudy, a 1.5 twist. Excellent routine for their leadoff spot.
Allie Smith is someone who tore her ACL in high school, came back later that year, and finished the college, or rather the high school gymnastics season. That's mental toughness, that's physical toughness, that's exactly what you want in that leadoff spot as we move to Megan Commercial, the senior out of Missouri, on beat.
And she's preparing for her flight series here. We'll see another back handspring layout, step out. Just didn't quite get the turnover on that layout that we typically see. Makes it really hard to fight to stay on the beam if you're a little bit off. Again, she'll refocus and want to finish this routine as clean as she can. Into her switch leap, and she does a tuck jump 3/4. You'll see those twisting jumps a lot on the beam. They help give connection bonuses when they're linked to other jumps.
You've talked about the unforgiving nature of the beam already tonight. How difficult is it to stay up there on a 4-inch apparatus?
Well, it's difficult. I'm not going to lie or sugarcoat it, but a lot of these girls have been doing gymnastics since they were young children, and so you really work your way up in your skills. She did a back handspring step out into a tucked 1.5 dismount. Had a slight step to the side there, but she finished her routine strong after that error at the beginning.
And back to floor for Eastern Michigan. Bree Price, we mentioned on her exhibition over on beam, is debuting on floor here tonight. Changed her first pass on Monday. Gave her a little bit of an extra bonus so she could take away some of the bonus she had added on to her dance.
And if you're going to make a debut in the lineup, floor is a pretty fun one to do it in, although she's had to wait the whole meet to do it.
2.5 front punch upcoming.
And she lands it very cleanly. That is a challenging pass. So in her first flip, she did 2.5 twists before she went into the front tuck.
Not only that, she changed it on Monday. It's Thursday.
That's impressive. For her second pass, she did a front handspring, front full into a front tuck. She landed that really clean as well. So far, this is a really nice debut.
The 9.025 for commercial on beam for Illinois State.
Getting ready for her last pass. This is where the endurance really comes into play. Finishing off with a front handspring front Rudy. We've seen that several times tonight, and she does it very well. Has a leap pass there at the end. What a way to make your debut on floor.
No pressure, by the way. You've worked so hard to get that spot, all building to that moment. Although you can't really think about it that way, can you?
Well, you know, a lot of teams do a lot to prepare in practice. They practice having pressure on them, whether it's competing in the lineup in the gym, or coaches are very creative with the way that they put pressure on gymnasts in the gym. So I'm sure she's had practice, but it probably feels great to go out and make that debut.
All right, we talked about the power on beam for Cameron Top. Let's see it in action.
You can see there, she had nice height on that layout step out. A little wobble there, her chest was down, but she did get off the beam nice and high. And that's where we see the power as well. It's not just in the tumbling elements, her leaps have quite a bit of height also. She does one of those kickover fronts as well. Slight wobble on that.
She's done a terrific job, though, to keep her balance on both checks.
Yes. Unique dismount there. She did a Sissone jump into a piked flip off the end of the beam.
Sometimes it is what it is. Here's Jewel Schwartz.
We saw her on vault earlier tonight. Clearly she likes the power events.
.9675 on the vault earlier tonight. Has competed in all 4 events at one point or another in her Eastern Michigan career.
Starting her routine off with a nice high double pike. Little forward on that landing, but she's able to pull it out into a clean pass.
You really saw the power, though, on that front pass. On the vault, didn't necessarily get the separation from the table I think she was looking for, but you see the talent shine with the way she got off the floor.
Absolutely, and she really had a nice clean landing on vault earlier tonight, and we saw a good landing again. We were talking earlier about the air awareness, and you can really see it in this tumbling pass.
I don't give her credit. A little Earth, Wind, and Fire for the music. Digging deep.
Getting ready for the second pass here. 1.5 into a front layout.
And you can see the emotion pour out.
Absolutely. She is an enthusiastic competitor. Nice leaps there. The leaps, you're really looking to have the full amplitude, getting that 180 split.
You kind of get the feeling that that's one that Jewel Schwartz nailed tonight, that she has been waiting for everything to come together.
Yeah, her tumbling was beautiful. It was high. She had clean landings. Not a lot to complain about there.
And here's the senior, Kylie Meyer. The first time we've seen her tonight. Second time she's been on floor. 2 meets in a row.
She did a nice back handspring layout step out there. Just a small check. Difficult leap pass. She did a switch leap into a switch side. Connected. There was no step in between. It takes a lot of strength.
And then 9.75 pops up for Jules Schwartz.
She does another standing layout step out there out of a little jump. She had a slight wobble, but so far she's looking really solid up on the beam.
I said floor earlier, by the way. Beam. Second beam for Kylie Mudd.
There's a nice cartwheel. Gymnasts are required to complete a front or side flipping skill. So you've seen a couple girls do different things. Again, with that gainer pike off the end of the beam, stuck the landing. It's a very solid routine, and they're gonna definitely hope to build off of that.
It's a unique dismount, but it's got a look to it. There's something that stands out about it.
Yeah, and when you can stick it just like that, it really is kind of the cherry on top of a nice routine. And Jada Rondo here, finishing off her all-around performance for the night.
First career all-around for Jada Rondo, a 9.525, 9.675, 9.625.
Huge double tuck, and she just drills that onto the floor.
She's going to be real happy with her very first all-around performance.
I think so. And she looks like she's just having fun out there at this point.
Looking at a high 38 score.
Her teammates running around the floor to encourage her. She's getting ready for a second pass. Round off the back handspring into a 1.5. Beautiful front layout. She's really trying to stand out with those stuck landings.
There's a confidence the way she carries herself on this routine as well.
Yeah, she's just having fun. She knows she can do it. She's just enjoying this last routine tonight.
How exhausted are you when you've done all around and you get to this point?
It's a tiring night, but you know, with the amount of training that these girls do, she finishes off with a beautiful Rudy. I don't think she could have had a better night to start off in the all-around.
There will be more for Jada Rondo.
And you can see her team is so excited for her. That's a big deal to have such a strong night as a freshman in the all-around.
We head back to the beam for Savannah Remkus.
Getting ready for her flight series here. She did a back handspring layout step out. Looks like her hips just opened up a little bit on that layout step out, but she's able to save it. She does a switch leap into a split 3/4, no wobbles. She has a nice flow in her routine. She's confident in moving through. Now that's a skill we haven't seen tonight. That is something called a side summy. So like we talked about that front or side flipping skill, she actually goes into it facing forward and turns to the side through the flip. Finishes off with a tuck front full. Little hop on the landing, but again, a solid routine for Illinois State.
9.75 just in front of her. As Illinois State builds on the night it was looking for some consistency. First week that RQS comes into account as you really kind of put together your end of season resume. Here now is Megan Marino, and this will be an interesting routine to watch. She's changed it about 4 or 5 times this year. Her first pass is new. It used to be a front double punch full, an E skill. They've reworked it as the season has gone along.
So she opens up with a double pike. We've seen that a few times tonight, and she did that very well. Clean form, clean landing. That's exactly what they're looking for. For her second pass, she did a front layout into a front layout half and a jump. We talked about that a little bit at the beginning. There's actually some bonus if you connect skills like that. So some of the girls are incorporating that into their routines. Seeing some twisting jumps there.
9.675 flashing up for Remkus over on beam.
She has a nice flow to her routine. Not quite as high energy as we just saw with Jada Rondo. another jump. Looks like those changes that they made to the routine have paid off.
Yeah, punch was the right word there too, because she hit that last pass and got some good height off of it.
Yeah, and it's really hard to go into those kinds of elements just out of running and punching into it. So when they complete it at that height, it's really impressive.
Here's Gabby Cook to finish things off and see what kind of routine she can post. If she can get a score dropped and get Illinois State over the 192 marker here tonight.
She did another one of those jumps where she lost sight of the beam, always a little bit risky. She had a slight wobble, but she pulled it right back on. That was a beautiful turn, really unique. Another one of those kickover fronts, little wobble there, but had nice height. Getting ready for flight series here. Nice back handspring layout. She's just had a few small checks on each of her skills, but for the most part, her execution is beautiful. Going into that gainer full off the side and nails the landing.
Crushes the dismount. And Bob Conkling has said there's always one thing for her a night that's not there. But she goes tonight 9-7, 9-7, 9-8, and then that. This is going to be a night that she is very proud of all around.
Absolutely. You know, sometimes it just takes a little while to build up the confidence to be able to complete every single routine through the evening, and it looks like it came together for her tonight.
And Emily Dobronics will round things out for us here tonight in the anchor spot on floor for Eastern Michigan. She's finishing out an all-around evening for her as well. And she's stuck floor routines in both the MAC championships and the NCAA regionals a season ago.
Getting ready to lead it off now. And an absolutely huge double pike. She had straight legs and pointed toes. That's why she's in this lineup spot. Nice amplitude on those leaps. With the 180 split again. Getting ready for her second pass now. And we see that front layout into the front full. Again, she had that punch into those two elements. And she's having fun also. It looks like this Eastern Michigan team really enjoys floor exercise. Only has one pass left, looking to finish this routine off nice and strong.
Final go for Marino.
And it's beautiful. She finishes off with a double tuck, nails the landing. They are very happy with that routine, and that is definitely going to help them build to the score that they're looking for.
See if they can't get that over a 194 when they add Marino's score in. It will not get Eastern Michigan that ultimate 195 they're still looking for right now, so that elusive marker still lies ahead of Eastern Michigan with a lot of conference play still to go ahead of them. There are a lot of things I think Eastern will take from tonight. There are still some areas I think Katy, Minnesota will say that we want to look at getting better still down the next 3-4 weeks of the season.
Yeah, they still have a little bit of time before conference championships, and they're going to look for consistency.
We'll take a timeout. We will come on back, get you the final scores, get you the event results, and give you the winner. We return to the Convocation Center with Eastern and Illinois State next. Back here inside the Convocation Center, where Eastern Michigan has officially put up a 194 flat today. Illinois State a 192.55. Take a look at the results individually through our last rotation. Eastern Michigan on the floor does get the 9.875 out of the anchor spot from Dobronics. Rondo rounds out that first all-around day with a 9.825. Got to be happy with that for her.
I think Rondo is going to be extremely pleased with her all-around debut. What a way to go out and just hit those routines. She's going to have a lot of confidence moving forward.
9.725 from Kylie Meyer and Gabby Cook leading the way on the beam for Illinois State. So a 1.94 for Eastern Michigan at the end of the day, their final end result. We welcome you back here on the floor. Megan Boyce, Joel Gadet, glad to have you along with us. Takeaways from this as a whole?
I think there were some highlights tonight. You know, Eastern Michigan had some really strong rotations. I'm sure they're going to go back in the gym and try to refine some of the things that they made mistakes on tonight. But overall, they've got to be happy. We saw some highlight performances with Illinois State also. I think both teams will just continue to work on their consistency.
All right, let's take a look at some of it and kind of guide you through our 4 rotations here of what stood out to us in particular. And we'll start in our first rotation. You see the vault from Dobronics, stuck the landing, kind of set the tone. Illinois State on bars. There was Wiggle, who had a really impressive day.
Yeah, you know, they landed some great sticks. Wiggle was consistent all the way around. You can understand how she earned that all-around spot.
There she is on floor, where she led off. Wiggle led off on 3 events today. And then Eastern Michigan to the floor, where Dobronics and Rondo really excelled. Take a look at our event winners for today. On vaults, Gabrielle Cook with the 9.75. Kendall Valentin. You know, it's easy to lose sight because she winds up with the fall on beam, and that's the last taste you have in your mouth, but she was awesome on bars tonight, and the Dobronics cleans up beam and floor.
Yeah, you know, Valentin was beautiful on bars. I'm sure she's disappointed with beam, but we saw some great performances all around, and I think both teams will take positives away from this tonight.
So a 1.94 final for Eastern Michigan. They will next be in action at Kent State and at Ball State. Their last home meet comes up on March 16th. You want to check your calendars today. Illinois State with the 1.92.5, Eastern Michigan with the 1.94 here in Ypsilanti tonight. For Megan Boyce and the rest of our ESPN3 crew, my name is Joel Gadet. Good night from Ypsilanti.